Have you ever walked into a room and felt like everyone was watching you, even if no one actually was? That tight feeling in your chest, the endless overthinking, the fear of saying the wrong thing, or just not being enough. That's social anxiety, and you're far from alone. Millions of people live with it every single day. But here's the twist. What if the answers you've been looking for were hidden in a philosophy over 2,000 years old? The Stoics, think Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, weren't just talking about emperors and ethics. They were teaching a way to stay calm under pressure, face discomfort head-on, and build real confidence from the inside out. In this video, we'll walk through 6 timeless Stoic strategies that will help you go from socially anxious to emotionally grounded, from overthinking to inner strength. Let's get into it. Number 1, understand social anxiety is a mental habit, not a fixed identity. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like every single person was watching you, even when no one actually was? Your palms get sweaty, your heart starts pounding, and your mind, it launches straight into overdrive. What if I say something stupid? What if they think I'm boring? What if I completely embarrass myself? That internal voice feels personal, like it's telling the truth. But here's something powerful to realize. That voice isn't you. It's a habit. Most people confuse social anxiety with being shy. They think it's just your personality, or worse, a flaw. But the truth is, social anxiety is a mental reflex. It's your brain running a familiar script over and over until it feels like fact. And like any habit, you can change it. Let's break this down. Imagine you're walking into a group setting. Maybe it's a party, a meeting, or even a casual conversation. Your brain starts running simulations. What if they don't like me? What if I come off as weird? What if I freeze and can't think of what to say? But here's what's wild. None of that is actually happening. You're not responding to reality. You're responding to a story in your head. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." He wasn't talking about Instagram followers or dinner parties. He was talking about something timeless. Our minds tend to create suffering that never actually exists outside of our thoughts. And that's the root of social anxiety. It's not that something bad has happened. It's that your brain is preparing for something bad that probably won't happen. Now, here's the breakthrough. If anxiety is a pattern of thoughts, then it's not permanent. It's not your identity. It's a mental habit that got reinforced over time. Think of it like this. If you walk a trail through the woods every day, eventually the path becomes smooth and automatic. That's what's happened with anxious thinking. But that also means you can choose to walk a new path. This is where the Stoics shine. They didn't just talk about controlling emotions, they practiced it. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What he meant is, you don't have to control everything, just your reaction to it. Modern neuroscience backs this up. When you notice an anxious thought and label it like, "This is fear," or "This is a thought, not reality," you engage a different part of your brain. You shift from reactive mode to observer mode. That's where change begins. You start to create distance between yourself and the panic. You interrupt the loop. You build a new one. So the next time that voice creeps in, pause. Instead of diving into the spiral, ask yourself, is this actually happening? Or is it just my brain repeating an old script? Because once you realize social anxiety isn't something you are, but something you've learned, it loses its grip. You're not broken. You're just rehearsing the wrong mental lines. And the good news? You can rewrite them, one moment at a time, one choice at a time. Eventually, that inner critic quiets down. And you become someone who shows up, not with fear, but with clarity, calm, and confidence. Number 2, focus on what you can control, the Stoic dichotomy. Ever found yourself obsessing over what someone might think of you? Replaying a conversation over and over in your head, wondering if you said the wrong thing? That feeling, that spiral, is one of the most common traps of social anxiety. And the Stoics had a powerful answer for it: the dichotomy of control. It's simple, but life-changing. There are two kinds of things in this world: things you can control, things you can't control. That's it. And the moment you learn to separate the two, you create mental freedom. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, put it like this: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Let's bring this into real life. You're walking into a meeting, a party, or a date, and your brain starts firing off fear signals. What if they don't like me? What if I stumble over my words? What if I come across as awkward? Notice something. All those worries are about things outside your control. You can't control how someone interprets your words. You can't control their mood, their past, or what kind of day they had. You can't control their reaction. But here's what you can control: how you prepare, how you speak, the tone of your voice, your breath, your focus. You can choose to be present instead of getting lost in assumptions. You can choose to anchor yourself in the now, not in an imagined future you can't predict. And that's where your power lives. Because the more you try to control what's uncontrollable, other people, outcomes, perceptions, the more anxious and frustrated you feel. You're chasing shadows, fighting ghosts. But when you shift your focus back to your own mind, your own actions, you stop playing defense. You move into response mode instead of reactive mode. This mindset is liberating. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop over-caring about things you were never meant to carry. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, said it best: some things are up to us, and some are not. Social anxiety thrives in the illusion that everything is up to us, that we need to manage every detail. But the truth is, you're not responsible for the entire room. You're responsible for your role in it. So next time you catch yourself spiraling, try this simple two-step check. Step 1, ask, is this within my control? Step 2, if yes, act. If no, release. This takes practice. Your brain's default mode is worry, because it thinks worry equals preparation. But worry without control is just mental suffering. It solves nothing. Start with the small things. When you feel that tension building, ask yourself, what can I control right now? Maybe it's your breath. Maybe it's adjusting your posture. Maybe it's choosing to speak slowly and clearly. Maybe it's choosing not to assume the worst. That's power. You don't need to control everything to feel in control. You just need to take ownership of what's truly yours: your thoughts, your words, your energy, your presence. And here's the magic. When you consistently focus on what you can control, people feel it. You show up calmer, stronger, more centered. You're no longer trying to manipulate outcomes. You're embodying presence. That's what confidence really is. Not the absence of fear, but the decision to stay grounded, even when fear whispers in your ear. So remember, you don't have to control the room. You just have to control your lane. And when you do that, you'll find the room often meets you with more grace than you ever expected. Number 3, challenge irrational thoughts with rational thinking. Have you ever had a thought spiral like this? They're all judging me. I'm so awkward. Why did I even come here? I never know what to say. And just like that, your body tenses, your voice tightens, and you start looking for the nearest exit, physically or mentally. This is the power of unchallenged thoughts. Not facts, not reality, just thoughts running wild. But here's the life-saving shift. You don't have to believe everything you think. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Epictetus said, "Man is disturbed not by things, but by the views he takes of them." In other words, it's not the event. It's your interpretation of the event that creates suffering. Think about that. It's not the silence in the room that's painful. It's the story you attach to it. It's not forgetting your words that hurts. It's the belief that this means you're stupid, unworthy, or hopelessly awkward. And most of the time, these beliefs aren't true. They're just familiar. They've been repeated so often in your mind, they feel automatic. But they're not facts. They're habits. And here's the good news. Habits can be questioned. Let's walk through a real example. You're about to speak in a group, and a thought hits. I'm going to mess this up. Pause right there. That's your moment of power. Ask yourself, is this thought absolutely true? What's the evidence? Have I always messed up? Or have I handled situations like this just fine before? Even if I do make a mistake, will anyone really care? Will it ruin my life? When you start breaking these thoughts down, something powerful happens. The fear begins to fade, because now you're not reacting, you're responding. You're not caught in the story, you're questioning it. That's how anxiety loses its grip, not by fighting it, but by calmly investigating it. This is where Stoicism shines. It teaches us to step back from emotion, not to suppress it, but to examine it with reason. Marcus Aurelius journaled daily about his fears, not to deny them, but to confront them with logic and honesty. He didn't run from fear, he talked back to it. Modern cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the most effective treatments for anxiety, is built on this very principle. It's no surprise, CBT is often described as modern Stoicism. Both teach you to catch distorted thoughts and replace them with clarity. It's like updating your mental software. Outdated, anxious scripts get replaced by fresh, rational code. You're not saying, I feel amazing all the time. You're saying, I see my fear, and I don't have to believe it. Over time, this mental practice builds resilience. You'll still have anxious thoughts, because you're human, but you'll stop letting them drive the car. So next time that voice in your head says, I'm going to sound stupid, try saying this instead. Even if I'm nervous, I can still communicate. I've done it before. I can do it again. Instead of, they'll think I'm weird, ask, what if they're too focused on themselves to even notice? Instead of, I always mess up, say, that's an old story. Let's see what actually happens. This is the power of rational thinking. It doesn't erase anxiety. It gives you the tools to walk through it, one grounded thought at a time. Number 4. Build confidence through virtue, not validation. Where does real confidence come from? Most people think it's about how others see you, your image, your reputation, how many people laugh at your jokes or like your posts. But the Stoics saw confidence differently. They believed that true confidence comes from within, not from validation, but from virtue. Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, they weren't trying to impress crowds. They were trying to align with their values. And from that alignment came an unshakable strength, a strength that didn't depend on applause. Let's break that down. When you walk into a room and immediately start scanning for approval, who's looking at you, who's nodding, who's smiling, it puts your power outside of you. Suddenly your self-worth is on a roller coaster, rising and falling based on other people's reactions. It's exhausting. And worst of all, you're never really in control. And here's the trap. No amount of approval ever feels like enough. You get a compliment, and 5 minutes later, your brain's back to questioning everything. You get validation, but it doesn't last, because deep down, you don't believe it. Stoicism flips this on its head. Instead of asking, do they like me? You ask, am I acting with courage? Am I living with integrity? Confidence isn't something you get from the outside. It's something you build on the inside, by living in alignment with your values. The Stoics emphasized 4 core virtues, but 3 are especially powerful for building inner confidence in the face of anxiety and judgment. 1. Courage. This doesn't mean fearlessness. It means feeling fear and showing up anyway. Speaking when your voice shakes. Attending the event when your mind screams, stay home. Every time you act despite discomfort, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than the fear. It's not the absence of fear. It's the decision to act anyway. 2. Wisdom. This is the ability to understand what's really happening inside you. Instead of blindly reacting to every anxious thought, you pause and say, "This is fear talking. That doesn't mean it's the truth." Wisdom gives you perspective. It lets you separate emotion from reality and choose how to respond, not just react. 3. Temperance. In the modern world, this might sound outdated, but temperance means emotional balance. It's the ability to stay composed even when you're nervous, misunderstood, or criticized. It's knowing that your worth doesn't depend on being perfect. You don't have to explode. You don't have to freeze. You stay grounded. When you embody these virtues, something powerful happens. You start to respect yourself, and that's the deepest form of confidence there is. Confidence from virtue is steady. It doesn't vanish when someone ignores your text. It doesn't collapse when someone criticizes you, because it's rooted in how you show up, not how others react. Marcus Aurelius captured this perfectly. He said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, stop performing. Start practicing. Ask yourself, am I being honest even when it's hard? Am I treating others with respect, even if they don't return it? Am I doing what I know is right, even if it feels uncomfortable? This is the inner scoreboard, and when you play by it, you win. Not because others clap for you, but because you know you showed up with integrity. So if you've been chasing confidence through likes, praise, or attention, pause. That road never ends. It only leads to more craving, more insecurity. But the path of virtue, that leads inward. It leads to stability, strength, and self-respect. Confidence doesn't mean, "I know they'll like me." It means, "I know I'll respect myself, no matter how they respond." And that kind of confidence, it doesn't shake, it doesn't break, it becomes who you are. Number 5, be present. Anchor yourself in the moment. Social anxiety has a time machine. It pulls you into the past. Why did I say that? Or launches you into the future. What if I say something wrong? But the one place it rarely lets you stay is right here. One of the Stoics' most powerful teachings is this: your power is always in the present moment. Not in the past you can't change, not in the future you can't predict, but in this exact moment where life is actually happening. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." Why is that so important? Because when you're grounded in now, anxiety has no room to grow. It thrives on mental movies, on stories, on what-ifs. But it can't survive in the clear, quiet simplicity of right now. Think about it. You're in a conversation. You're nodding, maybe smiling, but your mind is somewhere else. Did I sound weird earlier? What if I pause too long? What if they think I'm boring? All of this is happening in your head. And while you're there, you're missing what's right in front of you. Connection, cues, even comfort. The Stoic Seneca said, "Life is divided into 3 periods, that which has been, that which is, and that which will be. Of these, the present time is short and fleeting, and that makes it precious." When you train your mind to anchor in the moment, you don't just reduce anxiety, you amplify presence. And presence is magnetic. It makes people feel seen, heard, and respected. And it makes you feel steady because your focus is on what's real, not imagined. So, how do we do it? Here are 2 powerful techniques used in both ancient philosophy and modern therapy. 1. Breath awareness. Your breath is always with you, and it lives in the present. Next time you feel your mind spiraling, try this. Inhale slowly through your nose. Hold for a second. Exhale gently through your mouth. Do this 3 to 5 times. This doesn't erase anxiety, but it gives your nervous system a signal. You're safe, you're here, you're in control. And that signal spreads through your whole body. The Stoics didn't call it mindfulness, but they lived it. They practiced presence deliberately, returning to reason, returning to reality. 2. Engage your five senses. This is simple but powerful. Wherever you are, shift attention to what you can sense. Sight. Notice colors, patterns, shapes, and light. Sound. Listen for background noises, voices, footsteps, hums. Touch. Feel the texture of your clothes, the air on your skin, or your feet on the ground. Smell. Can you detect any scent? Even neutral air has a presence. Taste. If you're eating or drinking, focus fully on flavor. These cues bring your attention out of your mind and into your body. They remind you, you are here, not in your fears, not in your memory, but now. And here's the powerful truth. When your mind is full of the present moment, there's no space left for anxiety's predictions. You're too engaged with reality. So the next time you feel anxiety rising, ask yourself, where am I? Bring yourself back to your breath, back to your senses, back to this moment. Because this moment is where you have power, where life is unfolding, where clarity lives. The future isn't real yet. The past is unchangeable. But the present? It's yours to own. And if you can live there, even for just a few seconds at a time, you are no longer trapped in fear. You're free. Number 6, reflect and grow. Don't ruminate. There's a fine line between reflection and rumination. And if you've ever replayed a moment over and over, beating yourself up for how you acted or what you said, you've crossed it. Social anxiety thrives on rumination. Why did I say that? They probably think I'm weird. That was so awkward. I blew it. These thoughts feel productive, but they're not. They don't solve problems. They keep you stuck. And the Stoics knew this. Socrates once said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." And he was right. But there's a difference between examining your life and torturing yourself over it. The Stoic version of reflection is different. It's not emotional spiraling. It's objective, calm, constructive. Its purpose is not to punish, but to learn. Let's take a real example. Say you gave a presentation, and midway through, your mind blanked. You stuttered. You forgot your words. You panicked. Now social anxiety wants to take the wheel and say, "You're an idiot. Everyone saw that. You're not cut out for this." But the Stoic mind pauses. It says, "Okay, what actually happened? What did I handle well? What could I improve? What can I learn?" That's it. That's the work. Seneca put it like this: "It is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness." Mistakes are part of the road. Awkward moments are part of the road. What matters is how you walk it. The Stoics believed deeply in daily reflection, but not as a form of judgment, as a form of training. Marcus Aurelius would write in his journal each night, not to obsess over what went wrong, but to remind himself how to improve. He asked, "Where did I let emotion get the best of me? Where did I act with wisdom? Where can I do better tomorrow?" That's not rumination, that's resilience. Here's how you can apply it. After a stressful moment, take a pause, not to spiral, but to reflect with clarity. What went well? Did you show up despite fear? That's courage. Did you speak honestly? That's integrity. Acknowledge it. Own your wins, even the small ones. What needs work? Maybe your pacing was off. Maybe you over-explained. Cool. Now you know. What's the lesson? Do you need more preparation next time? A better structure? A deeper breath? What's the next step? Not replaying the failure, not predicting disaster, just showing up again, wiser and stronger. Epictetus, a Stoic teacher, offered this advice: make it your practice to put up with others' flaws and work tirelessly on your own reason. That means giving grace to yourself and others while staying committed to growth. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. So the next time you catch yourself ruminating, ask, am I learning right now or just looping? If it's looping, step out. Write your thoughts down. Get perspective. Ask, how can this moment make me better? Because that's the Stoic mindset. Life isn't about never falling. It's about getting up each time, smarter, calmer, more focused. Reflection sharpens you. Rumination weakens you. One builds strength, the other steals it. So don't waste energy tearing yourself down. Use it to build yourself up. We've explored 6 powerful Stoic strategies to overcome social anxiety. Realize anxiety is a mental habit, not who you are. Focus only on what's in your control. Challenge irrational thoughts with logic. Build confidence through virtue, not validation. Ground yourself in the present moment. Reflect to grow, not to beat yourself up. These teachings are timeless because the human mind hasn't changed. What we fear today, the Stoics feared centuries ago, and yet they left us the tools to rise above it. Marcus Aurelius put it beautifully. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. If you practice these strategies consistently, your relationship with anxiety will begin to shift. You'll stop being controlled by fear and start leading with clarity, confidence, and calm. And when anxiety comes knocking again, you'll have something stronger. Philosophical fortitude. You've got this. If this video helped you, I'd love to hear your biggest takeaway in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone who might need this message today. Until next time, stay grounded and stay stoic.